Strap in, here we go. 80 minutes to see who wins the 1895 Cup. And Liam Harris just waits for the signal from referee Liam Rush. Officials decked out in green shirts today. The rain still drizzling away. Liam Harris foot through the ball. Ball drops into the Featherstone 10. Big expansive pass. Caleb Aiken ships the ball on to Ben Reynolds. And they get out to about 17. 10 in from the near touchline. Reynolds races across in the 6 shirt. Clay Webb, the Australian former Newcastle Knights player. And there is Will Jubb in his blue scrum cap these days. Goes to his skipper, Danny Addy. Vastly experienced player. Scottish international. Jubb again to the big man, Gadwin Springer. Just punches that ball up towards halfway, just outside their 40 at the moment. Aikens in the line again with another carry. They've made good ground on this set of Featherstone Rovers. On the last, trying to milk the penalty. Doesn't happen. Rocky Hampshire puts the kick up towards Toa Matafa. Takes it just inside his 10. First touch of the ball for the Knights Samoan fullback. And he gets out to just short of the 20. Knights with a carry through Scott Galliano in his orange boots, the Australian. Moves to the Knights 30. And then Ollie Field with a little carry. Featherstone quickly off the defensive line. Danny Addy leading, and then Liam Harris puts the kick in. Keeps it pretty low. Caleb Aikens goes across and just puts his instep against the ball on the 20. The Knights chase pretty good. Make that first set for the Knights.
Yeah, pretty good. Decent kick by Liam Harris into the far right corner. So a good start for both sides actually, with Featherstone also making ground in that first set. They got over the halfway line. Decent set 6.
Yep. Will Jubb comes out and plays the ball, uses Jordan Thompson as a foil. The former Hull FC and Castleford play a little bit slow to get back into the Knights' defensive line. And here's Gareth Gale, tall, rangy Gareth Gale. Prolific try scorer for Featherstone. Career appearances of about 130, and 3/4 of those he scored tries in. Featherstone to the Knights 30. Little chip over the top down the right side from Rocky Hampshire. Toa Matafa takes control, takes the ball out of the air in his 10 on the 10-metre line, tight to the left touchline. And the Knights with some work to do to get out of there. It's Scott Galliano with the first carry. You're listening to BBC Radio York, all our frequencies and online. Fabulous evening here at Wembley, following the Knights in the 1895 Cup final. And as you would expect at the moment, the defence is having the upper hand. Paul McShane just ships that ball into Joe Brown. Joe Brown helping out from the wing, helping to make the metres back towards the halfway line. McShane again, who of course played in that final for Castleford against St Helens when the Knights were last here in 2021 in the main Challenge Cup final. Attingano lofts a high hanging kick towards Caleb Aikens. A little adjustment there by the full-back, but he managed to reel the ball in. It just for a second looked as though that one might just unhinge him a little bit, Mick.
Yeah, Caleb Aikens really had to work to take that ball, but it was a really good take actually. Both sides going, kicking the high balls, which is understandable with the greasy ball, but both full-backs have both done really well so far. Yep,
Connor Wynne, the winger, 2 appearances in a York Knights shirt, scored a try at Swinton, I seem to remember, in a big win that day for the Knights. Played those 2 games on loan under James Ford, and then Danny Addy rumbling the ball forward in the 13 shirt for Featherstone, just over the halfway line. Down the left side, little kick through from Ben Reynolds. Toa Matafa waits to see if that ball's going to go into touch, and it just about does. Eventually signalled by the touch judge Cameron Worsley. But Toa Matafa was hoping that ball was going to fade into touch, and it didn't quite make.
Is this a Featherstone ball? I think, did he pick it up and then put his foot into touch?
I'm not
waiting for the referee's call here.
We'll see what referee Liam Ruch dictates. It is going to be Featherstone ball. Big chance here, so possibly a little error from the Knights down the right side of the defence. No, it is going to be Knight's ball. Finally decided. Ball thrown from the possession of Jimmy Beckett, the Featherstone prop forward, back into Knight's possession, and they're able to try and run this ball out of defence on the 20 at the moment. Paul McShane, ball into Geordie Thompson. And Geordie Thompson gets the Knights out to outside the 30. You're listening to BBC Radio York. We have had around about 6 minutes. It's still 0-0 here at Wembley in the 1895 Cup final. Paul McShane, deep ball to Liam Harris. Liam Harris drops the ball off into Connor Bailey. Connor Bailey gets onto halfway, onto the whitewash. Geordie Thompson again. This is going to be straight and direct. Run straight at Gadwin. Springer has come out the other side. Geordie Thompson into the 20, still going. Cut down by a great tackle from Caleb Akins. 13 metres out, absolutely central. McShane, right side. Liam Harris drops the ball onto his foot, regains it. It's been played out, another set for the Knights. Possibly not another set for the Knights. I think his referee, Liam Rush, has determined that it's a handover. That's not how I read it, Mick, initially.
I would agree. It looked like Liam Harris had kicked the ball into the Featherstone players and then retrieved it. And he actually, I'm sure he waved a reset there.
Yeah.
And then changed his mind. The referee's making a bit of a shady start from the referee. Jordan Thompson, though, great run down the middle. So determined to make the bust, but he didn't have a York player on his shoulder. Yeah,
interesting that he broke straight through the middle, straight through Gadwin Springer, the French international. But Featherstone are back in possession. And Danny Addy working hard for his side, the skipper. Yeah, interesting moment there. Liam Harris was convinced that it should have been another set for the Knights. That ball just rattles off the shins of Joe Brown, and referee Liam Rush, another contentious decision as he determines that Joe Brown has knocked on. And two decisions from the referee have piggybacked Featherstone off their own line up onto the edge of the York Knights 20, and Mick, your thoughts on those two?
There was no knock on there. We've got the replay in front of us with the luxury of that with us, Andy, this time, and there was no knock on there to be seen.
Two very ordinary decisions from referee Liam Rush. Now, can Featherstone profit from them? Can the Knights hold out here? They've gained 80 metres off the back of two refereeing decisions there of Featherstone Rovers. Ball just held in the back of the scrum. Rocky Hampshire goes to Caleb Akins. Akins tries to bust through the tackler. Jesse D can't do so. 18 metres out, midway between the right-hand stick and right-hand corner flag. Here's Gadwin Springer, that little hitch kick in front of the Knights defence, which means he's got no pace on. And they bring him to ground. Danny Addy, straight at the post, tries to roll through the tackle. Just about held by Paul McShane amongst others. Adjacent to that left-hand post. Will Jubb eyes the left side, goes to Ben Reynolds. Ben Reynolds fires the short pass. Clay Webb runs onto it, but he's held. Cracking last-ditch tackle. The Knights trying to ease the Featherstone player to the ground. Caleb Akins at the play the ball. To Reynolds again. Danny Addy is just going to take the tackle in centre field on the last. Which way will Featherstone go? Will Jubb going to go right side, goes to Hampshire, injects a bit of pace, and then the tackle comes in. Great defending. I think it was, well, I thought initially it was Josh Hardcastle that was knocked down, but it wasn't, it was Brad Day. But great defending. You see who was on the end of the tackle, Mick?
I didn't, but I want to roll it back two plays to the Liam Harris tackle there on Clay Webb, because he was clean through off a short ball, and really good awareness by Liam Harris to make a crucial tackle there to stop a try. That one there, Andy, I want to show who it was.
Yeah, we got the benefit of the TV replay today, which we don't normally have. But the Knights have once more just withstood that little bit of Featherstone pressure. It is still 0-0 here in this all-important cup final for the Championship and League One clubs. Paul McShane prompting away down that left side. Atingano just takes on the Featherstone right side defence on the last. On halfway, Liam Harris is going to launch the kick. This is going to go up high. Spirals in the air towards Connor Wynne. Connor Wynne takes it, drops to the ground on his 10. The Knights' chase is good, and Joe Brown's going to get hold of him. Eventually scragged to the ground by the tackler, Connor Bailey. So Featherstone have to start from their 10. Decent kick, Mick, and not easy to handle for Connor Wynn.
Not really hard ball. Spiralling kick from Liam Harris, really hard to take, but he did well. Did the lad.
Oh, Daryl Alpertz came through the tackler. Jack Martin, it's not often you see the Australian prop forward miss a tackle, but Daryl Alpertz was able to slip through. The former player who started his career at Charleston. He was with Wakefield in opposition to the Knights last season. Brad Day running strong into the tackle. Featherstone on the Knights 40, but on the last. Kick to come again. Now will the players fare underneath it? Little grubber kick this time from Rocky Hampshire. Dribbles it down into the corner. Clever little kick from the former Weatherstone, from the Featherstone halfback, former Wigan Super League player. Ball drifts into touch in the Knights 10, and they will take over possession on their own 10-metre line. And now it's not easy in these conditions to get that ball out of defence, Mick, is it, to make those hard yards, hard metres?
It really isn't, and both teams are working hard to come out of backfield.
Here come the Knights again. Kieran Buchanan with the initial carry, the Scottish international player, formerly with Batley, and then Scott Galliano again.
Outside backs are working hard for York, coming out of backfield, especially coming out from their own 20. Most of the backline are running the ball out. Strong
running there from Jesse D. I thought he'd spotted a gap and then was knocked down. And again, we've got a decision from the referee. Paul McShane looks absolutely mystified. Nobody seems to know what referee Liam Rush has given. And I think he's given the handover and Featherstone ball. He has. He's given the handover and Featherstone ball. Mystifying at the moment, this opening 15 minutes from the referee.
He must have judged a knock-on, but again on the replay I didn't see one.
Yep, didn't seem to signal the knock-on. Featherstone back in possession. Knights penalised. Presumably for offside. So another chance for Featherstone Rovers. In this opening 20 minutes, they're going to go for the 2. Ben Reynolds dictates that they will take the kick at goal. And we're 12 minutes in, off the back of one or two head-scratching refereeing decisions. The Featherstone Rovers have the opportunity to take the lead through Ben Reynolds, and it was a penalty awarded for offside by the Knights defenders. Ben Reynolds lining the ball up. Former Knights player, of course, played on a more or less season-long loan under James Ford for the Knights, did Ben Reynolds. 16 appearances in that season, 156 points. And he's just to the right of the post. Shouldn't have too much difficulty in giving Featherstone Rovers the lead. Well, Ben Reynolds, right-footed kicker, drills the ball, head down, head over the ball, and it is 2 points to nil. And Featherstone Rovers get the first points on the board in this final from a penalty awarded for offside. Just want to see if there's a conversation goes on here between Liam Harris and referee Liam Rush. There certainly is, indeed.
Yeah, there's been some really strange decisions made up to now by the referee. The Matarafa incident where he changed his mind, he almost gave the ball back to Featherstone and then changed to give it back to York, and can't see the reason for that, changing his mind. Liam Harris kicking through, coming off Featherstone and not retrieving the... And then he gave a restart and then changed his mind. Didn't see a knock-on just there either.
Yeah, I think the Knights just have to take things out of the referee's hands at the moment and just make sure they get on top of this Featherstone side. They've got to restrict them high up the field at the moment. They found metres surprisingly easy to come by Featherstone coming out of defence. Good run from Josh Hardcastle, the former Featherstone Lion. Drops back to the floor, and then Gadwin Springer again. He's had a variety of clubs, including 3 frontline French clubs. Played for Catalan, played for Toulouse, played for Villeneuve. Danny Addy working hard. He's been as impressive as anybody in those early stages for Featherstone Rovers. Kick to come. And it's Rocky Hampshire who drills one low towards the touchline. Joe Brown once more lets the ball bounce off his shins as he did last time, and he doesn't get pulled up for it this time, Mick.
Oh yeah, that was very similar incident there, but well taken by Joe Brown.
Yeah, Toa Mataafa takes over possession for the Knights. Liam Harris jumps out to play the ball, finds a bit of a gap, almost got away. He was just about grabbed by Gadwin Springer as he went out the other side. And then Geordie Thompson along the line slips the ball into Kieran Buchanan in the 3 shirt for the Knights. On to the 30. Paul McShane. Akumatai almost busting the line, then drops the ball off, ends up back in Knights possession in Jack Martin, but the referee hasn't wiped the tackle count clean. 1 in the bag for the Knights. Here we go. Ata Ingano, left side the attack, off the outside of the foot. Almost caught by the Knights. Ball just seemed to dribble out the possession of Scott Galliano, who got up highest. And the referee has determined that it's Featherstone ball on their 10.
Pinpoint.
Ball must have stayed in play, Mick.
Yeah, good, nice little kick there actually. Perfectly weighted into the corner.
It's the defensive job now the Knights have got to do. They've got to restrict the Featherstone go forward in there and hunt the mistake. Daryl Olpertz with the first carry. Gets to be on the 20, and then Danny Addy again. He's leading from the front today. He's the skipper. Former Bradford player, of course. A lot of appearances in a Bradford shirt. Ben Reynolds tight to the left touchline. Clay Webb, the Australian, engulfed by 3 Knights tacklers. Connor Bailey, Liam Harris in there, and then Caleb Aikins, the full-back. On the last, once more the defence is dominating as Ben Reynolds chips the ball over the top towards the touchline, and once more Toa Mata'afa just waits to see whether that ball will skip on. He's holding that ball well up on the wet surface, Ben Reynolds, Mick.
He is, yeah. The kicks to the left-hand side have been pretty accurate, just holding up like literally a yard away from the touchline.
And Joe Brown once more we tasked with getting the ball outside the 10, which he fails to do. He's driven back. Brendan Santi. Mark Applegarth has rung the changes. Brendan Santi, the Italian international, out there now for the Knights. Scott Galliano restored to the lineup today in the place of Ben Jones-Bishop, who's cup-tied. Makes good ground up to the 30 for the Knights. Mata'afa in from full-back. Just looking for a little gap past Clay Webb there, couldn't find it. Early kick from Paul McShane, deep. Is that ball going to run dead? Will it stay in play? It is going to stay in play. The Knights chase is good. Daryl Olpertz will do well to get out of there, but good work from the Featherstone winger. What's the referee given here? Because the Knights were prevented from getting onto that ball. And Featherstone trying to get out from behind their own try line, but the Knights have restricted them. They're not going to get out of there. And I think it's Josh Hardcastle who's been pinned in. It was a strange affair because Knights players seem to be taken out off the ball. Ball cannoned into the upright. And they allowed Daryl Olpertz to escape. But then Knights driving players back, and it was good, strong work from Brendan Santi initially, Mick.
Great work by the Knights there. Yeah, you say Daryl Olpertz, he was saved by the post because Ata Ingano hit him, but he hit back against the post, bounced off and came back in field. But good work by the Knights to pin them on the next play, to pin them behind the sticks. Yeah,
restart kick from under the post by Ben Reynolds, taken by Ata Ingano, and it's now Brendan Santi in the 10 shirt for the Knights. His brother over from Australia for today's game. Liam Harris along the line, goes to Ingano, left side the attack, then they come back the other way through Jesse D, stepping, looking for space. Paul McShane just about hung on to by Geordie Thompson. Forward pass given, Paul McShane into Geordie Thompson. Little error by the Knights, and when it looked promising off the run, back of that run by Jesse D, and by the way, hello to our listeners down there in Warilla. They've got up at 3 o'clock in the morning to listen to this game, and thanks for tuning in. But Featherstone have got the scrum off that forward pass. Paul McShane into Geordie Thompson, and Ben Reynolds feeds the scrum, distributed by Will Jubb. Daryl Olpertz off his wing, driven back. Good work by the Knights defence. Ollie Field, one of those. Scott Galliano also in at the tackle. Just outside the 20 at the moment, Featherstone. You're listening to BBC Radio York, all our frequencies and online. Cup final Rugby League on a Saturday evening. And it is 2-0 to Featherstone Rovers. That penalty from Ben Reynolds. Clay Webb with a little bit of space to run there. The Australian came in at Featherstone at the start of the season. And then Danny Addy prompts the ball on to Rocky Hampshire. Caleb Aikins in the line, collared by Knights defenders just over halfway line. The halfway lane, it is on the last. They go short side. Hampshire again, chips over the top. Toa Mataafa goes across, collects about 5 metres from his own line, comes back infield. Good Featherstone chase again, Mick Ramsden.
Yeah, good end to the set there by Featherstone again. Both teams ending the sets really well at the moment. But Mataafa is dealing with it at the moment, dealing with it really well and bringing the ball out. York back in the 20 now, trying to make yards.
Yeah, the Liam Harris is trying to profit from some real sloppiness around the marker by Featherstone. Twice he's made good meters there, Mick. They were tidier that time with Featherstone, but he will make ground if they don't tidy things up there at marker.
That's where the opportunities have come so far. There's been 1 or 2 little half breaks down the middle. Maybe that's one of the parts of the game plan that Mash has spoken to the lads about.
Yep, Jordy Thompson losing his footing. Liam Harris puts the high kick up towards Daryl Alperts. Alperts takes it, 12 from his own line. Former Wakefield player gets outside the 20 again. The Knights chase a little bit tardy after the high ball, Mick.
Little bit.
Or is it just my take on it?
Yeah, a little bit. It's 20-minute mark. They're just getting the second wind.
Featherstone have coughed the ball up here, Mick. Brendan Santee retrieving the ball. Here's Jack Martin, the Australian. Gets into the 20, gets the offload. Paul McShane beckons to players to come onto his shoulder, and it's Brendan Santee that gets there. The Knights are 12 out, just to the left of the post. Paul McShane. McShane goes left to Hingano. Hingano cuts back the other way, players outside him, but the Featherstone sliding defence was excellent. And there's a knock for the Knights player, and I think it's Hingano that's gone down heavily in the tackle. Ata Hingano looks to have taken a knock to possibly his head, and the physio straight there, but concern for the Knights as they look to threaten the Featherstone line. This game's every bit as tight as we expected, Mick Ramsden.
It really is tight. Brad Day, I think, got the hit on Ata Hingano there. He's still down on the floor, just receiving some treatment.
Yeah, we're just looking at the replay here, just see what the contact was. Well, there didn't seem to be a lot in it. Certainly nothing you could level as being anything like foul play.
Not foul play, just hoping there's no twist of his legs in any way, but it doesn't look as though he's receiving attention from his lower leg anyway.
Yep.
Did twist a bit as he went down, but...
Yeah, Tingano still prone on the ground at the moment. Second change coming, it's Tara Jones, who former St Helens women's hooker, of course, who retired to take up a place with the RFL match officials team. She is the 4th official today. Jimmy Beckett been withdrawn by Featherstone, I think, for King Vuniyayawa to go out there, and that's not good to see. Stretcher bearers ready at the side of the pitch here.
Can only assume that's just in
precautionary. We hope so, Mick.
Yeah. Never seen that before though, but we're at Wembley, so I suppose.
Yeah, it's like that scene from Ben Dobson Broomsticks with the vultures with a stretcher and waiting to go on, and you just hope that they're not needed. Physio still with, and the doctor with Atingano at the moment. It'd be a big blow for the Knights if Atingano were to go off. Mick, they do have a handy replacement on the bench in Sam Cook.
Yeah, he's sat up now, just receiving some treatment. Hopefully he'll be okay.
Just looking at the clock, it's ticking past 24 minutes here. Featherstone leading. That penalty on 12 minutes from Ben Reynolds. The Knights been caught offside just outside their own 20.
Mark Applegarth on the screen looking...
Yeah, looking concerned.
Yeah.
Atingano's back up now. Will he have to go off for head knock? Physio possibly just checking. He'll be saying yay or nay to that. Attingano's had a bang in the mouth. He's just asking the doctor to make sure all his teeth are still in place. It's a dentist you need, Atta.
He's all right.
Yeah.
That's good news.
Danny Addy just inquiring the referee, Liam Rush. Liam Rush indicating it was just a bang in the mouth. And Attingano is okay. That's a relief for the Knights and for Mark Applegarth. He's going to play the ball just on the 10-metre line. Paul McShane waits. Attingano, and then it's Liam Harris just dropping that ball up for Jack Martin. Jack Martin rumbles the Knights to within 6, adjacent to that left-hand post. Paul McShane, what can he fashion? He goes right. Liam Harris, quick pass from Toa Matafa. Great defence from Connor Wynne, who was right in the face of Kieran Buchanan as he received that quick pass from Matafa. Connor Bailey, Harris again, and then drops the ball off into Jack Martin. Jack Martin once more within 5, but it's on the last. The Knights looking for a repeat set. Connor Bailey comes up just as a fend for Liam Harris. Liam Harris to Buchanan. Ball knocked down by a Featherstone hand. Another set in the bag for the Knights. Liam Harris tries to ease past Clay Webb in the 10. Can't do so. 5 in from the near touchline. The Knights with a full set in the bag here. Connor Bailey, he'll just drive hard and direct the former Newcastle Thunder player. Bound for FC at the end of the season. McShane to Geordie Thompson. Centre field almost through a gap. Featherstone just about clung on to him in the form of Vuni Ayawa. McShane right under the sticks. Another set in the bag. Set restart. Hingano left side. Chance for the Knights. Holyfield goes for the line. Knocked down just short. Tight to the far touchline. Scott Galliano. They recycle coming back the other way. Jesse D with the carry at the moment. Goes to Liam Harris again. Harris dummies. And Featherstone don't fall for it. They get there in decent numbers to arrest the former Hull players' progress. It's Brendan Santee once more just trying to work a gap in this Featherstone Rovers try-line defence. McShane, ball goes to ground. Was it knocked down by a Featherstone hand? No, knock on, according to referee Rush. Ball must just have squirmed out of Paul McShane's grasp. We look at the TV replay again as Paul McShane looks absolutely disgusted and just a wry smile on his face. Was there a Featherstone hand? No, I think it was his own player that got in his way, Mick.
Yeah, the lead runner just ran through too close to him. He got mistimed it, and as McShane went to pass the ball, he kind of just made contact with his own player, and a bit of a mess, really.
Yeah, shades of the Challenge Cup final here. Hull KR had quite a bit of pressure, but when it came down to that final pass, just couldn't hook things up, really. And that's very much the tale of this opening 25 minutes or so for the York Knights. They still trail 2-0. Featherstone at the moment deep in their own half. Connor Wynne, another former Hull player, just shuffles his feet, and good work by the winger. Strong work, still going, still on his feet. Ben Reynolds to Danny Addy. Danny Addy, King Vuniyo Yayawa, the former Leeds Rhinos player. They go short side. Reynolds with a kick, chips it over the top, skews off the outside of his right boot, bounces once into the hands of Toa Mataafa. And the Samoan sets the position, 37 from the Knights line, in more or less centre field. Joe Brown in off his right wing.
Rain coming down again, Andy.
Yeah, it's been, we were forecast showers, and it's not disappointed us, has it, Mick? It's been like a tap on and off since around about 2:30 this afternoon.
So far we've seen less handling errors in the Challenge Cup final.
Yeah, don't spook it, Mick. Low. Attingano was hit really late off the ball by Vuni Ayawa. Picks himself up to his feet. Liam Rush looked round at that and ignored it. Here's Liam Harris. Liam Harris centre field. Kieran Hudson now out on the field in the 31 shirt, former Castleford player. McShane to Harris. Harris, little bit of ball handling chance here for Toa Mataafa. Ball squirms out of his grasp 2 metres from the line. The Samoan couldn't hang on. Words exchanged between him and Danny Addy as Featherstone recover the ball close to their own line, and once more a little glimmer of an opportunity for the Knights goes begging. And again, just simply the conditions, Mick, that were the undoing of the Knights fullback.
Yeah, just watching the replay, maybe he should just have held on. He may have got close, but instead he was in contact and he was being tackled, but he tried to get the ball out to Joe Brown, and the ball just went to ground.
Featherstone ball, Clay Webb, Reynolds very quickly off the defensive line, the Knights in the form of Paul McShane. Deceptively ambling gait of Paul McShane, but he can move when he needs to. Such a vastly experienced player. Daryl Alpert's in centre field. Knights at the moment doing a good restricting job again on Featherstone. And a knock on by Daryl Alpert's big mistake. Another handling error in these greasy, wet conditions. And Featherstone have coughed the ball up on their own 20. They still lead by 2 points to nil in this ever so tight 1895 Cup final. But it is going to be Knights ball on the 20.
Again, they've had a bit of possession, haven't they, Andy, in good ball positions. They haven't come away with any points, and it is important that they get something on the board.
Yeah, they've had all the pressure, haven't they, the last 10 minutes. Featherstone have been stuck in there, not able to get out through little handling errors, turning the ball over. Will that pressure eventually tell? Here's Hingano to Harris. Kieran Buchanan, straight and direct, brought down around the ankles by Ben Reynolds. Just outside the 10. Harris to Hudson. Hudson, he only knows one way, does Kieran Hudson.
Strong runner.
Still driving. Yep, strong running, and then eventually just repelled. Loses a couple of metres, but it's a penalty. Will the Knights seek to tie it up? And Liam Harris, I think, has already said he's going to go for the 2. Yep.
Tricky one.
Yep. Not sure whether... I didn't see Liam Rush's hand signal. Don't know whether it was given for offside or a high challenge.
When I say a tricky one, I mean, do you take the 2? They've had so much pressure down here. Someone's got to give at some point, and it was coming. But I think they've decided to go for the 2, tie it up. Let's at least come away with some points.
Yep, Kieran Hudson, strong drive under the post. And referee Liam Rush awarding a penalty against Featherstone. And Liam Harris immediately had no second thoughts. 20 minutes since the last score in this game. That 2-0 lead for Featherstone, the penalty from Ben Reynolds. But Liam Harris, the Knight skipper, with an opportunity to tie the game up. 70% kicking success rate this season. Ball on the tee, on the 10. Looks at the post, kicking towards the Featherstone Rovers fans. Ball's through, it's 2 apiece. And probably speaks volumes for the way the game's gone. It's been so nip and tuck, Mick Cramston.
Yeah, it has. There really isn't very much between them. Both teams are on good form. It's not without its errors, but they are completing pretty high. York's problem at the moment is that they're getting sets in good ball positions and not coming away with tries. They've come away with 2 points on the back of that last set to make it 2-2. But they're probably a little bit disappointed that they've not gone over the line in the last 10 minutes.
Do you get the feeling that the last instructions from the 2 coaches down in the sheds in the conditions were to be quite conservative? Because that's my feel of the way the game is going, Mick.
Yeah, but if you recall the very first kick-off set, Featherstone put a wide shift on immediately, which was a bit shocking considering it was raining, and you'd think, yeah, they would keep it a little bit conservative. Yeah, but I think the game has gone that way a little bit. York have kept it reasonably close, and they found a little bit of space down the middle anyway, so...
Massive bell ringer of a tackle there from Vuni Ayawa on Brendan Santee. Really rocked him back, but the Knights retaining possession, and Jesse D battling away the former Mackay cutter. And then Toa Matarafa up from full-back again, just to lend a hand to get Knights meters upfield, but they're going to have to kick on the last from their own half. Liam Harris spirals one up towards Connor Wynn, takes it 15 from his own line, takes it very, very comfortably.
He's quite a strong player.
He is, yeah. Restored to the lineup. Didn't play last week against Barrow, didn't Connor Wynn, but has come in today. Gareth Gale moving off the wing into the centres. He's the one with the carry at the moment, Gareth Gale. All 6'4" of him. Terrell Allput's off the other wing. Scragged by Attingano. And then Josh Hardcastle, another former Featherstone Lion, down there in the middle of the village. Great community club. Caleb Akins gets Featherstone over halfway. They're going to have to kick from inside their own half. Rocky Hampshire puts a little bit of a sprint on. And then kicks the ball towards the touchline on the far side. And a little ankle tap by Daryl Allput's on Toa Matafa brings him down on the night's 10. It's like a chess game at the moment, Mick, isn't it?
It is. These are the hard yards here now. York need their outside backs to get behind the ball and help the forwards.
We saw this in the Challenge Cup final between Hull KR and Warrington. That was very much the same. Both teams just conscious of not throwing that ball away, not playing too much expansive football. Liam Harris, that's come off the outside of his boot, may go direct into touch. Connor Wynne just about. He must have had a great awareness of where he was there, Mick, because he tiptoed along that touchline to stay in field, did Connor Wynne.
I think Liam Harris tried to get it over his head. He was up a little bit in the line.
I'm not convinced it wouldn't have gone out on the full, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it looked that way.
Connor Wynne just dared leave it. And Featherstone, that's 2 appeals in this tackling set for the Knights for high tackles. That was Kieran Hudson. But not upheld by the officials then. Josh Hardcastle goes nowhere. He's been a great servant down at Featherstone as well as Josh Hardcastle. Never takes a backward step. Featherstone still in their own half. 2 points apiece here in the 1895 Cup final. Will Jubb into Rocky Hampshire to Brad Day. Brad Day trying to thunder through the tackles. Can't do so. It was Attingano that stopped him. Hampshire again chips over the top. Ball dribbles into touch. Eventually Scott Galliano just watching it. And the Knights once more will start from their 10, and it's all about just turning the ball over in the right areas at the moment for these two sides. So cagey.
Yeah, it really is. These hard yards, I need to, the aim, try and get to your 40-metre mark before Liam Harris or Attingano kick the ball, and that's what they're all aiming to do. Just march the way upfield, get to the 40 for the kick so they can get some depth.
I do blame the conditions, Mick, because we'd anticipated a cracking final of open, expansive running rugby league, and we've been denied that because of the difficulties of handling this ball, and they're keeping the ball around the ruck. There's a lot of one-up rugby going on from both sides. And
that's what you have to do. You have to adjust to the conditions, and both teams are really doing that pretty well.
One-handed pick up there from Paul McShane. Ben Reynolds hadn't made the 10, but it's on the last. The Knights 30 out. Go to Liam Harris again on the right side of the attack. Puts the high kick up once more. Caleb Akins gets to the ball and rakes it in. 12 from his own line. 5 in from the near touchline. Connor Wynne and Gareth Gale. Big tackle by him on Kieran Hudson.
We're talking about yardage sets, Andy, there, and I was saying you get to your 40 to give your halfbacks a chance to kick the ball long. But we got way over the halfway line in that set with some really good forward running.
Yeah, Clay Webb, the Australian, making good ground there for Featherstone. No sign of any injury problem with Ben Reynolds. He seems to have got certainly through this opening 35 minutes or so really well for the Rovers. And then Rocky Hampshire goes for the kick, goes for, I think, an attempted 40-20, but it was never going to get over the head of Scott Galliano. And the former Sunshine Coast Falcon gets back to 27 from his own line. As this game continues in a similar fashion of the just turning the ball over in the right areas. Kieran Buchanan, former Batley player, makes good ground up towards halfway. Knights, of course, never won the 1895 Cup. Featherstone that win. And a loss against Lee. I think it was the year after. Attingano almost finds a gap. Hung on to by the ankles by the tackle of Will Jubb. Harris again with a kick. Hanging kick Connor Wynne almost is obstructed by his own player there. Gareth Gale had to get out of the way pretty handily. And once more, Featherstone have to start from their own 10-metre line. Still 2 apiece. You're listening to BBC Radio York. All our frequency on online. Massive game for the York Knights, trying to get the Knights' first ever, or York Rugby League's first ever win at Wembley. 1931 they appeared in the Challenge Cup final. They led against Halifax, but unfortunately came out second best. That's a long raking kick downfield again from Featherstone once more. Scott Galliano, the Australian winger for the Knights, chases back. 2 Featherstone players almost in a bit of friendly fire there. It was King Vuniyayawa and Brad Day that closed the gap and ended up colliding with one another as Scott Galliano slipped between the 2 of them. Paul McShane not happy with the speed of the play. The ball, Joe Brown, former Bradford and Wigan player. We saw the Wigan ladies take the Challenge Cup away from St Helens after their tenure, 5-year tenure on it. But Wigan far too good for them today. Kieran Hudson driving hard again. It's been a decent signing. Kieran Hudson runs hard, hits hard. Harris, Hingano, ball going left. Harris, Hingano with a kick over the top. All puts under pressure. Looked to me as though a Knights player was shepherded off the ball there. Josh Hardcastle on Scott Galliano. Scott Galliano appealed as he slithered along the turf. Referee Liam Rush was having none of it.
Don't think the linesman really helped him there because he had a definite case there for being taken off the ball.
Seemed to have done. He was closing on the ball, but Featherstone once more have possession of the ball. 2 points apiece. And we are just about up to the break. And Featherstone get a penalty. And the Knights pinged for offside. Kieran Hudson, I think the little comment was in the direction from referee Rush. And Ben Reynolds will promote this ball into touch. And he's not found touch. Ball, Joe Brown knocks the ball backwards. That was sloppy from Ben Reynolds there, not sloppy to find touch. I mean, you know, the first half, the hooter's about to sound, but Ben Reynolds really should have been Featherstone in possession and pressurising the Knights' defence here, and it's nothing of the sort. It's Featherstone having to defend on halfway. Geordie Thompson again. Just that one break from Geordie Thompson gets a penalty. Will the Knights go for goal? They're a long way out. High shot on Geordie Thompson. Little discussion between him and Will Jubb. I think it was Will Jubb that wrapped him across the chops. Maybe a little apology from his former teammate.
Liam Harris thought about kicking for touch there, but
he did.
Time's
but
up.
He's going to go for the goal. He is 43 out.
Go for 2, make it 4-2 going into the break.
Yeah, right on half time. And a high shot on Geordie Thompson that provokes the penalty.
Yeah, Joe Brown got away with it a little bit there.
The ball slithered away from him, but he did slither backwards.
Luckily, yeah.
After 1 or 2 of those early refereeing decisions, it was a bit heart-in-mouth stuff. But so Liam Harris, this one will test him. It's a long way out. It's a wet and greasy ball. 43 out, just to the right of the post. I'm just looking around to see where the Knights fans are positioned, to see whether we're going to know early whether this is going between the sticks, Mick. But the Knights fans are sort of at a better angle than us, but I don't think they're going to know immediately.
I think you probably get it from the Featherstone fans more.
Yes, you will. True enough. Yeah, Featherstone fans behind the sticks away to our right. Liam Harris lines the ball up on the kicking tee. 43 metres out. Can the Knights skipper put them in the lead at the break? It is 2-2. Here he comes. What will the strike be like? Might just have enough legs to make it. It does! And Liam Harris, with his second penalty of the half, gives the Knights the lead as the hooter sounds for half-time. And the Knights go in at the break with a very, very tenuous 4 points to 2 lead. We've not had a try in the 40 minutes, just those 3 penalties. 1 for Ben Reynolds on 12 minutes, and then the 2 for Liam Harris, 8 minutes apart. 1 for, we think, possibly a high shot on Kieran Hudson, and then a high shot on Geordie Thompson. Players have already scampered up the tunnel.
The teams are back out here at Wembley Stadium. We're back underway, so time to hand you back over to your York Knights commentary team of Andy Atkinson and Knights Hall of Famer Mick Ramsden.
Yeah, thanks very much, Pete Spencer. And I think that the line judge, the in-goal judge here, has decreed that from the Featherstone kick-off, the Knights player has put his foot on the dead ball line, and the Knights are immediately going to have to drop out from under the post. So not the best start to the second half for the York Knights. They win. They lead at the moment 4 points to 2 in this 1895 Cup final of just 3 penalties. Good purchase on that from Liam Harris, caught by Rocky Hampshire, hands the ball off. Ball in to Jordan Williams, the former London Broncos player, a player who impressed the Knights. I know they had designs on him at one time. He's another one that's been restored to the Featherstone lineup today, but Featherstone within 25. Here's Rocky Hampshire, that injection of pace that he puts in there. Williams with the carry again to the right of the sticks. 11 out, tackled by Sam Cook, who's now out in the action for the Knights. They go short side. Hampshire tries to weave through, held by Cook and Matter. Affa with a bit of help from Jesse D. Still to the right of the post, within 6. Will Job go short, goes to Brad Day, but Brad Day takes that ball, almost stood still, and is driven back to the 10. It's on the last for Featherstone. Will Job waits. 10 in from the near touch line, goes to Hampshire. Hampshire kicks across field. Big jump taken out the air by the Knights player, who looks as though he might have been taken out in the air as well, Mick Ramsden.
Looked that way, but he took it really well. Is it Kieran Buchanan?
Yep, I think it was Kieran Buchanan, yeah, the Scottish international. Good work from him. The Knights now set about moving back towards halfway. That initial little error at the restart. We talk about the error. It was an excellent kick, a really good depth from Featherstone, the kick-off. Paul McShane, and Featherstone offside, pinged by referee Liam Rush. So that sort of redresses the balance at the start of this second half, if you've just joined us. Early penalty on 12 minutes for Featherstone Rovers, converted by Ben Reynolds, the player who had a season with York. And then Liam Harris on 32 and 40 minutes, including a 43-metre penalty, has put the Knights just ahead. Here's Holyfield, taps the ball from the penalty restart, gets the Knights over halfway. Mick, it's like watching 2 gunslingers waiting for who's going to draw first, isn't it? You know, somebody's going to have to chance their arm in this game as it goes on, and they're going to end up with spectacular success or abject disaster, aren't they?
Yeah, they've just got
in
to
these
do it
conditions.
Yeah, they've got to get into the right area of the field, as York are now travelling into the 30-metre area towards Featherstone's try line.
Geordie Thompson knocks on. Geordie Thompson, player who twice reached a Wembley final with Hull and was not selected on the day. Missed out twice in his career at Hull FC. Hoping to get the win today. So, scrum down and Featherstone ball, 30 from their own line. 4 points to 2 to the Knights. BBC Radio York, all our frequencies and online.
They try and, you know, both teams will want to try and play squeaky clean, but in conditions like this, there's going to be errors. And both teams have to realise that, and it's the reaction after the error that's important.
Yeah, Connor Wynn, first one to hit the ball up for Featherstone. We're talking about the size of the pitch, Mick, and 68 metres is against 67 at the LNER. It'll be a bit tighter than that next Sunday when the Knights go to Odsal.
Yeah, that's it, knock a few metres off there.
On the postage stamp. Here's Rocky Hampshire. But it is all about the next 35 minutes and whether the Knights can lift this 1895 trophy. Featherstone come forward, Ben Reynolds, Caleb Aikins in the line, goes to Gareth Gale. Gareth Gale brought down tight to the far touchline. On the last again for Featherstone. Reynolds poised to put the kick in. Puts the kick in. Keeps it fairly tight. Drops it towards Toa Mataafa. And sort of picks the pockets of his colleague Joe Brown. They were both under the ball, but it is Joe Brown with the carry. And he stopped absolutely dead in his tracks, 10 from his own line.
Mataafa there, though, if you remember a couple of weeks ago when there was a bit of confusion between, I think it might have been Joe Brown at the time, but Mataafa was really dominant there. He obviously called he was going to take that ball, and he did, and he's doing well today under the high ball. Yeah.
The illuminated advertising hoardings are interesting, aren't they, Mick? 'Cause it's quite a gloomy evening down here, and suddenly they spark into light, and it sort of makes you jump a bit. That's a great kick downfield there. Caleb Akins has had to go right back into his own 10. The Knights have driven him back over his own line. That's fabulous work. Let's have a look at the guys that were responsible. Jesse D was certainly there. Kieran Hudson was there. It was a brilliant chase after a brilliant kick.
Brilliant. These are the moments, aren't they? These are the moments that make the difference in a tight game like this.
Yeah, we said that just that little spark of invention.
And effort. It's the 1%ers that talk about them. You know, the effort levels to get there and make that tackle and drag the player back over his line.
Yep, Ollie Field in at the tackle. So great work. And Featherstone having to drop out from under their own post in the form of Ben Reynolds. Again, gets a good thump under it, caught just short of halfway by Ata Ingano. Entrusts the ball to Sam Cook, and the former Albi player gets to within 32. Jody Thompson again, another chance to make a foray forward into this Featherstone defensive line. Just resist the temptation to try and offload into Paul McShane. Sensible work from the experienced player, and then Sam Cook just puts the ball onto the ground. Just took his eye off the ball, had a little glance up at the Featherstone player advancing on him.
You know, there's been errors, but that was a bad one. You know, that's got York in a really good position there, and he dead set just dropped the ball.
Connor Jones in the action for Featherstone. Replaces Will Jubb. Will Jubb's just pulled his scrum cap off and gone to the Featherstone bench. Can Connor Jones make a difference? The former Salford player. He was with Northern Pride out in Australia. Connor Wynne, he's worked hard all day to make vital meters for Featherstone.
Strong lad, yeah, he goes into contact and he comes out the other side, doesn't he? He takes some putting down.
Well, they've put him down this time and he stayed down, I'm afraid. Rocks himself back up onto his haunches as the physio goes across. Here come the water carriers. Joe Law amongst the Knights water carriers today. Ben Jones Bishop, of course, he'll be imparting a bit of knowledge and experience, although poor Ben Jones Bishop, 4 visits to Wembley and not a win in sight.
Yeah, going back to Sam Cook, he's come on as loose forward. I think Jordan Thompson's pushed up, which is, you know, it's not a bad thing. He's got a lot of skill as Sam Cook, and he gives us a bit around that area. So
took a bang to the head from the tackle of Kieran Buchanan there, did Connor Wynne.
Yeah.
3 Knights players in at the tackle. Kieran Buchanan just wrapped his arm in there and seemed to catch him across the nose end. Lovely to have the benefit of the TV replay, Mick.
It's all right. There's a little delay there, isn't there? So
yeah, there is. You've got to sort of stall, yeah. Patience is a virtue. Patience is certainly a virtue in this cup final here, because it is. I was talking to one of our colleagues during the radio colleagues during the interval, and he was saying it's a proper cup tie, and it really is.
It is.
There's just nothing between the teams, just a sliver of paper between them. Brad Day trying to make ground. He could be heading for touch. The Knights eventually flatten him to the turf, but 5 metres infield. Rocky Hampshire again trying to impose himself on the game. Little roll out of the tackle there by Jordan Williams. Ball goes to the floor, picked up by Ben Reynolds. Bit of broken field for Connor Wynne. Bumps off the Knights player. It was Liam Harris that he just said they'll see you later too. Rocky Hampshire chips over the top, ball bounces once into the hands of Tomat. Arthur throws the pass across his own post into Scott Galliano, and the Australian makes a decent bit of ground. Ball comes out and a penalty ripped out by Josh Hardcastle.
Wow.
It was a rip. It was a rip all day, Mick.
I thought at one point he'd lost that, but he's had it ripped out. So penalty to the Knights. Featherstone looked dangerous, and with that attack down the left side with a lot of players moving, the skill level wasn't good though. The ball was hitting the ground, but they did look a little dangerous at that point. First time really we've seen it.
There was a lovely little back-heeling back play there from Gareth Gale, the Featherstone centre, to keep the ball in their possession when it looked as though it was going to ground. So here come the Knights from the penalty, and Ollie Field. Not had too much change today out of the Featherstone defence, hasn't young Ollie Field. Ingano to Hudson back out there again, and once more makes decent ground. He's good at making those extra metres, although Featherstone sort of subtract a couple as they drive him back. Here's Ingano, another player just can't quite impose himself on the game, can't quite find the gaps he's looking for. Jesse D, who's been as good as anybody in a night shirt, ranges back in field.
Good one.
Keeps that Featherstone central defence really honest. 30 out the Knights here. Joddy Thompson with the carry. Onto the right side. Liam Harris, short ball. Featherstone defence tenacious, gritty. No way through. On the last, Harris. Little grubber kick. Collected by Featherstone. Featherstone back in possession again as once more the Knights turn the ball over. You'd have to say in a position they'd want to do so, Mick.
Yeah, you can't grumble where they've turned the ball over in Featherstone's left corner. 15 metres from their own line there, but Liam's not quite finding the space to kick through. A couple of times he's tried to kick behind the line and he's hit the Featherstone player. He's
been well policed today, hasn't he? When you look at 15 tries in the bag this season, Featherstone are well aware of the threat that he poses. There'll have been some threats from and a break from Connor Jones in the middle for Featherstone, going away. He's got support. Can Joe Brown get to him? Brings him down on the Knights 20. Brilliant work from Connor Jones on the last. Everybody's appealing to everybody here. What's going on? Liam Rush has held play up. Paul McShane's wanting his 10-penner. Featherstone stopped, didn't play the ball. Ben Reynolds had his arms held aloft, appealing for something that we certainly didn't see. There's a conversation going on. They're looking at the bench. Was it that there was someone on the field that shouldn't have been? Well, play held up. It's on the last. Featherstone are 17 out from the Knights line. They go to Reynolds. Reynolds keeps the ball moving to Rocky Hampshire. Into Caleb Akins. He puts the kick in towards the touchline. Scott Galliano's knocked on. The Knights won't get away with that one. It's going to be Featherstone ball. Scott Galliano knocks on close to his own line. This game suddenly sparks into energy and life again. I can't understand what's going on here. I don't know whether the Knights went to make the change and couldn't make it. Sam Cook coming off, Akuma Tai trying to come back onto the field.
Yeah, strange. Ben Reynolds pointing over to the dugout area, complaining about something.
Yeah, he was.
I'm not sure the Featherstone player was that made the break there, Andy, down the middle. But he had Jack Arnold on his right and didn't look.
Yep, Knights can't make the change at the moment because it's a scrum, so they've got to keep the Sam Cook out there. Sam Cook packs down, but Featherstone ball and a big chance for the West Yorkshire side. They go left to Reynolds, short ball. Once more, the Knights defence holds good. Jake Gannon's now out there for the Knights. Will Jubb into Danny Addy. Addy drops the ball off. Jordan Williams' right foot just disappears from under him as he tries to step off it. Will Jubb again into Rocky Hampshire. Hampshire to Akins. Akins in the line, finds a bit of room. He's used his own player. It was King Vuniyayawa. I can't say it. I'll slow down. Vuniyayawa, who stepped in front of Caleb Akins, and the try for the Featherstone fullback has been wiped out by referee Liam Rush. Did it look like that on the replay, Mick?
Well,
no. 53 minutes gone, And Featherstone denied a try for Caleb Akins.
He was stood there, and yeah, let's put it this way, the York players used him to their advantage, I would think. So off the hook there, York.
Yep. But suddenly Featherstone looked really dangerous after that break from Connor Jones in centre field. And then really just utter confusion when Featherstone were finally brought down 10 from the Knights line, with everybody looking at the referee and the referee saying, what? Now it's just over halfway. They still lead 4-2. Are we going to see a final without a try, Mick?
We'll see a try. We'll see a York try. Ate Hingano's the one that will unlock this defence.
Here is Ate Hingano. Ball to Akuma Tai, the big man. Drives the ball in on the Featherstone 30. Just about in centre field. Paul McShane waits, goes to Hingano. Hingano puts the kick up towards Akins. Akins underneath it. Falls as he catches the ball and just shields the impact of the onrushing Liam Harris. Daryl Alpert's to try and clear Featherstone lines. Don't forget, if you want to get in touch with us, your thoughts on the game, you can tweet us at BBC York Sport. Text us, start your message with the word York, 81333. Or you can WhatsApp us again. You have to start your message with the word York. That's 08000 321 333. It'd be wonderful to hear from you. All the post-match, whatever the outcome. And again, Akins almost making a break from the Featherstone half. There's a little push off the ball there as Kieran Buchanan perceived that one of the Featherstone players had got in his way. Kick over onto the far side, tight to the touchline, picked up by Joe Brown. Comes infield, lateral run that sees him skirt towards the Knights 30. Tension's unbearable, Mick Ramsden.
It really is. He's got to keep moving, keep
it's
going,
like one of those
going forward.
Cliff-hanging thrillers that you watch that has a twist at the end and you don't know what the twist's going to be. Jesse D, his feet go from under him, but the Knights have a set restart. Featherstone messing about at the play the ball. Jake Gannon, the former Lee and Warrington player, saw his former side Warrington be so unlucky today, beaten in the dying seconds by a try for Hulkingston Rovers. Here comes Akuma Tai. The former New Zealand Warrior gets onto the Featherstone 10. McShane, right side. Harris puts the little dummy in, tries to accelerate. Featherstone weren't buying it. And then McShane chips across field. Jesse D competing. Ball comes loose, goes backwards, and a knock on by a Knights player. I was making a point earlier about Liam Harris and the little dummy and scoot, and I would think that there's been a threat during the week from the Featherstone coaching staff that if anybody buys one of those dummies, they'll be sat in the corner with their hands on their head for 3 weeks afterwards, Mick.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. You know, they're giving him a lot of close attention, Liam Harris. But then there's other players in the York team that can step up.
Yep.
And, you know, looking at Hingano's probably had a little bit more space than Liam today.
Cadwin Springer back out there. French international. And Danny Addy, he's tried manfully to prompt his side forward. Rocky Hampshire, Caleb Akins, he's had a decent game in Featherstone colours. We have got just around about 20 minutes to go. Danny Addy slows play down. Then they go quick. Clay Webb finds a big gap. Going for the corner. Matt Haffer pulls him down. 8 out. Wow. Tight to the left touchline. Clay Webb almost getting over for the first try of the game. And then Ben Reynolds, Rocky Hampshire drops the ball off. Akins goes close. Adjacent to the left-hand post, it was on the last, it's going to be the handover. The Knights survive again. Mick, how did they survive there? Because Clay Webb, the Australian, looked as though he'd made a clean enough break to get over, but Toa Mata'afa cut him down just 5 metres out.
Perfect timing for Mata'afa to cut him down there, Andy. Lovely ball off Ben Reynolds to get Clay Webb away.
And the Knights have knocked on. The Knights have knocked on, coming out of defence. They're really heaping pressure on themselves now. Featherstone on the front foot, and they remain on the front foot.
Massive set.
Coming up to the hour game, yeah, absolutely, Mick Ramsden. Massive set defensively for the Knights. It's whether Featherstone can spring the trap here.
We've seen some fantastic goal line defence from York this season.
It's going right side, Mick. It's 4 against 3.
Yeah.
It's 4 against 3 if you look at that Knights defence. You can see where Jesse D's going when that scrum breaks. He's got to go and defend left. Rocky Hampshire, Caleb Akins, Josh Hardcastle, Daryl Allput's deep. It's definitely coming right. Here it comes. Jump to Hampshire. Hampshire short ball into Hardcastle. Hardcastle brought down 5 out, 10 in from the near touchline. Allputs goes to play the ball in the 2 shirt. Goes to Hampshire again. Hampshire into Danny Addy. Danny Addy will slow things down. Gadwin Springle will try and knock the front door down. Can't do so, but gets to within 6. Sets the position that Featherstone want. Will Jubbs already back out in the action for Featherstone. Fires the ball left. Addy to Vuniyayawa. Vuniyayawa driving for the line. Held up by Knights defenders. Close to that left-hand post. Referee Liam Rush shouts held. What's he given this time? He's given Featherstone a penalty. Danny Addy hit late off the ball, I think. There's push and shove going on between Akumatai and Clay Webb. But the Knights with more defending to do. It is 4-2 to the York Knights. 2 penalties to 1. Conversation going on between touch judge Cameron Worsley and referee Liam Rush. What's this about, Mick Ramsden?
Well, Danny Addy got hit there by Akumatai, but it was literally, 0.1 of a second after he passed the ball. He got hit hard and he's given the penalty. He's pulling Akumatai out. It is,
Akumatai coming across to him. Just hope this hand doesn't go for the back pocket.
It's one of those rules.
Liam Harris has gone across. This could be the defining moment of this final. Nope, he's spoken to him. And Akumatai returns to the defensive line. And Featherstone are going to go for the kick at goal. Oh, there you go. Well, I think they've let the Knights off the hook, Mick, I'll be honest with you.
Well, it's one of there's a few rules in the game at the moment that, the rip-out rule that we talked about away from the air earlier on today, and the other one is this shot off the ball just when the players pass the ball and the defender makes contact immediately after. It's just one of those. You're committed to it, and it's very hard to pull out of a tackle like that. What's to say he's not going to hold the ball, so you tackle him?
Ben Reynolds to try and add the 2 and tie us up at 4 apiece. To the left of the post. Shouldn't have too much trouble. Doesn't have too much trouble. It's the 4th penalty of the game. And it's 4 points apiece. And we talk about consistency as well, Mick. I mean, there was an incident in that first half where Atingana was hit late. Referee Liam Rush glanced round as he was following play, but just waved it away.
Yeah, that's right. Not much consistency there.
So we're all square.
We're all square, but Featherstone are away from that good ball position. Yeah, it's 4-all, but
I can imagine Knights fans at home putting on a set of false fingernails at this moment, so they've got some more to bite. It really is that tight, that tense.
Featherstone look a lot more dangerous at the moment now, the last 10 minutes especially.
They do, yeah.
Really, really dangerous attack coming our way.
Knights have done a lot of defending, Mick.
They have.
And it's going to take its toll. It definitely is.
Definitely.
Will Jubb. Featherstone, they seem to have stacked the big men out there again at the moment. Gadwin Springer's back out there in centre field. Danny Addy's constant danger, prompting away for his side, the skipper. And then Caleb Akins, every time he steps in from full-back, you think, is there a break on? Not this time. Paul McShane stops him. They go left. Ben Reynolds with the kick. Steeples 1. Toa Matafa eases underneath it, takes it in his 10. Featherstone give him a bit of space, and he gets out to 18 from his own line, right in front of the post. The Knights need some tidy handling. They need a good set that's going to get them downfield with the ball intact. Jack Martin comes back on. Jake Gannon comes off. What can the big Australian had. Oh, early kick from Atingano, goes for the 40-20. He's not quite got the angle. Caleb Akins goes back, picks the ball up in his 10. Great chase. And Jesse D hits him with a bell ringer. Brings him down 11 out from his own line. And then Jesse D goes after Josh Hardcastle. And the Knights have got numbers there. 2 tackles down for Featherstone, still on the edge of their own 10. You can see visibly the fatigue taking over in this game, McCarthy, and both sets of players.
Absolutely,
It is an absolute war of attrition out there.
After they've got to really dig, both sets of players digging deep now.
That's a great bit of work there from Vuniyayawa, and I managed to say it correctly this time. Jack Martin in at the tackle on the last, but Featherstone have got 30 metres. Kick to come from Rocky Hampshire, keeps it low, belts it downfield as hard as he can go. Toa Mataafa adjusts, readjusts, and then readjusts again, picks the ball up. 20 from his own line. Good chase, Ben Reynolds chasing his own kick. Liam Harris gets there for the play. The ball, as you can see, the Knights troops slow getting back behind the ball, Mick.
Yeah, it's really, they're just taking a minute here, but they need to get back behind the ball. They've got to really work hard here to get out of their own half.
It's the backs. Oh, and they've fallen off the tackle. Scott Galliano finds a bit of space. Still going, then the ball's knocked out of his possession. And Featherstone have the ball back. Scott Galliano made great ground, and then I think probably his reserves of energy, and he just couldn't cling on to the ball as the tackle came in on the blind side from behind him. Daryl Alpert's. It's like the gas tank on your car. You see it running lower and lower and lower. Can you get that extra mile? Can the Knights find a bit of something? They're defending again at the moment. It is 4 each here in the 1895 Cup final. Brad Day tries to add a bit of impact and push to the right side of the Featherstone attack. 22 out, Will Job against his old side to Danny Addy again. Sensible play from Addy, finds Reynolds. Reynolds creeps into the Knights 20. 15 in from the far touchline, they come back to centre. Addy drops the ball off again. Jimmy Beckett, another of the ex-Featherstone Lions contingent, on the last. Will Job on the 10, goes to Reynolds, injects some pace, kicks through. Has he been knocked down off the ball? No, 20-metre restart decreed, and possibly Ben Reynolds just ran into the Knights player, trying to milk that penalty.
You're looking a little tired at the moment, going through a spell.
I shouldn't accuse Benny of that. He's a nice guy. I'm not sure he didn't have a case, though, looking at that replay out of the corner of my eye, Mick.
He could have had there, but yeah, look, the York players need to find something. Featherstone are just looking like a bit more energetic.
They're hanging on at the moment. Here's Brendan Santee for the Knights as they march back towards halfway.
A lot of tired bodies now.
Yeah, even Liam Harris looks shorn of a bit of pop and fizz, and it's just what the Knights need at the moment. We said before, it's like watching 2 gunslingers and waiting for one of them to draw. That's Ngannou held. The Knights 35 out from the Featherstone line. Geordie Thompson will go again, hands the ball on to Harris. Harris delays the pass, goes to Mataafa, the Samoan, steps back off his right foot on the last. Liam Harris again. Steeple one, surely he does, towards the left side. Alperts tries to get underneath it. Scott Galliano knocks it back, but it's into Featherstone possession. Referee's blowing his whistle. What's he giving? He's given the Knights a penalty. He's given the Knights a penalty deep in Featherstone territory, and I think he thinks that might have come off a Featherstone hand, and Josh Hardcastle was in an offside position. And now it's the Knights' turn to draw. Are there any bullets in the gun, Mick Ramsden?
What's he going to do? He's going for his playing on.
Yeah.
I thought he made a kick for goal there.
And I think, and he's gone backwards slightly to give them a little bit of position, a little bit of depth, a little bit of shape. Holyfield to Ngannou, Jack Martin, the battering ram. Adjacent to that left-hand post, Paul McShane directing operations from the play the ball. Harris to Ngannou, slips the ball on quickly. Knights still in possession, but very scruffy as Scott Galliano does the tidying up. Still 10 out. Ngannou with a tired-looking pass. Jack Martin again. Everything through Jack Martin at the moment. The Knights seem to go backwards. Paul McShane waits. We have 12 to go. At Ngannou. Ngannou onto Harris. Right side the attack. Matafa, can they find something out there? Stopped again. This time, I think Kieran Buchanan took the tackle. Back to Harris again. Harris kicks in behind the sticks. Chased by Ngannou. Touchdown by a Featherstone defender. Featherstone will have to drop out from under the post. The Knights get a repeat set. And just turning the screw, Mick. Turning the screw.
That's the kick that Liam Harris has probably had trouble with on a couple of occasions where he's not got it between the players, but he did on that occasion. Kicking back towards the sticks. Perfect kick. You know, Atu Inhago was not too far away from that.
Tension is unbearable.
It is.
Absolutely unbearable. 69 gone on the clock. Ben Reynolds restarts. Brendan Santee, former Australian schoolboy captain. Jack Martin again, his bandaged head. That familiar strapping. Paul McShane looks just to the right of the post. 17 out. Geordie Thompson onto Ngannou. Ngannou, no look pass. Holyfield, dummies. Almost went through the tackle, tight to the left touchline. Still a couple of tackles in the bag for the Knights. Galliano, Jesse D, can he find something? Brendan Santee, just once more. Brendan Santee wriggles out the tackle. Had the ball on offer, nobody on his shoulder. Got to within 3 metres. Paul McShane, dummies, goes to Geordie Thompson. Ball loose, think Featherstone have managed to get hold of the ball. No, still York. Harris, ball comes out of his possession, wrestled out by a Featherstone player. Featherstone survive. And it is going to be Featherstone ball on the 10.
McShane nearly went over. Liam Harris nearly went over. All close to the posts. But
Holyfield almost crept his way in on the left side.
And you've got to say, Holyfield's decision-making on that left side has been really good today. A couple of times when he could have passed to his winger, but he's kept it and just, he would have slid into touch. And that's some good decision-making from Ollie.
Mick, I've got a question for you. Are we going to Golden Point? It's surely...
10 minutes.
Surely they've got to think, the two teams have got to think about the drop goal.
It's looking that way.
We have had 70 minutes. And we look at the columns, we have 0 tries and 4 penalties altogether. 2 each. This game that's been dominated by defence and the weather conditions. Danny Addy as Featherstone come forward, and then the carry from Gadwin. Springer gets Featherstone over halfway. Connor Jones is back in the equation again. Rocky Hampshire puts the kick in towards Scott Galliano. Galliano belted by the tackler Josh Hardcastle. Absolutely rocked back. He did really well to hang on to that ball, making that tackle.
He really did. He was questionable whether his feet were in the air when he was hit.
Yep. Holyfield working hard. It's just anybody that has some reserves of energy. I'm mindful of that playoff game up at Whitehaven that went to 106 minutes a few seasons ago when James Ford was in charge, where the two teams were just absolutely out on their feet. They'd given everything they had. And this is getting very much to that position. Ngannou onto Jesse D. Jesse D's been as good as anybody today for the Knights. Just can't wrestle free of Rocky Hampshire's tackle. Ngannou advances, finds Harris. Harris puts the kick in towards Connor Wynne. He's been dead safe under the high ball all day and is again 15 from his own line. Good chase. Liam Harris orchestrating the chase. Wynne will play the ball on 11 from his own line. Gareth Gale with the carry. So many strike players that they've just not had an opportunity to strike today, Mick. Gareth Gale among them.
That's it. Just, they're not getting the field position, and York have just got to hunt that error, just try and get that error off the Featherstone team. 9 minutes left.
Jimmy Beckett, the former Dewsbury player, with the carry. Second spell with Featherstone Rovers. Connor Jones, nice little bit of sleight of hand that puts him on the short side. Clay Webb knocked down on the last. Featherstone again, you can be sure the steepler's coming. It's going to be Ben Reynolds. It goes high. It goes towards Toa Matarafa in his own 10. Soft hands take the ball. Has a look at what's coming at him. Tries to break between Featherstone players. Danny Addy missed the tackle. Rocky Hampshire didn't. Scott Galliano, as the York physio, sort of somewhat interfered with play there. And then Jesse D puts the brakes on, tries to come back, but runs straight into the tackle of Brad Day. Still 4 apiece. BBC Radio York. Can the Knights get a York club's first win at Wembley? They are a score and 7 minutes away. Are we going to go to Golden Point extra time? Can my nerves stand it? I suspect not, Mick Ramsden. Liam Harris once more, the ball goes high. Caleb Akins. We've hardly seen a dropped ball today, which given the conditions is quite remarkable.
It is. Both teams have taken the high ball really well.
Connor Wynn once more trying to make ground for Featherstone out of defence. And then Gareth Gale again, whose 6'4" frame is levered to the ground by Brendan Santee. Nobody home, and Connor Jones taking advantage. Nobody home at the marker for the Knights there. And gets Featherstone up to halfway. Reynolds to Addy. Addy to Hampshire. The 3 players that might unlock this Knights defence. Then Clay Webb again, who went close about 10 minutes ago. On the last for Featherstone. 40 out. Jones is going to go to Hampshire. Hampshire off that right foot. Again towards Toa Matarafa. Again he takes the ball in. And again the Featherstone chase pins him down in his own 20.
All the players like within the middle 40 metres. It has been for the last 3 sets now, 4 sets.
As I say, they're just, I don't think there's more than an ounce of energy between the lot of them at the moment. They just look drained.
They're going to be thinking about drop goal territory, but they just can't get close enough.
Got to do. That looked like a forward pass from Paul McShane until Liam Harris. They've got away with it. There was an opportunity out there initially to ship that ball on to Joe Brown, which was spurned by Kieran Buchanan, but the Knights are in Featherstone territory at the moment. Jack Martin just twists in the tackle, that familiar twist in the tackle that we used to see from his coach, Mark Applegarth, when he was in a Knights shirt. Here's Liam Harris. Up it goes again. Once more, Connor Wynn advances towards it. Once more, he takes it in and wheels away. And the Knights chase is good. Santee and Brown with the chase. Connor Wynn again. Can he find a bit of space to wend his way through? Goes back to Reynolds. One of the Featherstone playmakers drops the ball off. And Olpertz takes over. Looking at that clock, Mick, I make it 4 minutes to go. It's 4 apiece. It's all the 4s. You really could cut the tension with a very blunt knife at the moment. Akins ships the ball on. Olpertz, bit of space to run. Big tackle from Atingano brings him down on the Knights 40. Rocky Hampshire looking for space. Ball into Josh Hardcastle. Hardcastle. And Field and D do the tackling. On the last once more for Featherstone. Once more this. Will it be a crossfield kick? No, it's just pumped up in the air from Rocky Hampshire. Matarafa, great challenge by Connor Jones, but he couldn't pick the ball out of the Samoans' hands. Liam Harris on to Scott Galliano, in off his wing again to work hard. He's run his blood to water today, running that ball out of defence. No chance in attack to do anything, but both him and Joe Brown have made some important meters. Harris to Buchanan out over the 30, just squirms out of Connor Wynn's tackle, but eventually stopped. The Knights trying to work towards halfway. Connor Bailey takes over. On the last for the Knights, they're still in their own half. Liam Harris again, once more tasked with the spiraling end over end bomb. And Wynn, Caleb Akins has found some space and then runs into Paul McShane, who drags him down just over halfway. But Featherstone back on the front foot with Daryl Olpertz, the former Wakefield winger. 38 out. Connor Jones, dangerous Connor Jones, goes to Danny Addy. Ball moved on into Vuniyayawa again, and he's brought down, and once more Featherstone advance towards the Knights line in the former Rocky Hampshire. Deep ball to Akins, good shape here from Featherstone. Brad Day almost eases past Ngannou and Field into the 10. Rocky Hampshire, deep ball to Danny Addy onto Vuniyayawa, back to Addy. They move the ball onto the left side. Ben Reynolds, think he thought about the drop goal, goes back to Hampshire, laterally along the line, trying to make space for Day to the dangerous Akins again. Brought down 10 out on the last. Will they go for the drop goal, Mick? They're not gonna, they've gone the other way. Brad Day, ball dropped. Dropped by Josh Hardcastle with the line at his mercy on the right side. The Knights escape. Why didn't they go for the drop goal, Mick Ramsden?
It was all there. They've got field position. It's all there for them, and they've gone right. With a little bit more skill there, they could have scored though, but they made a mess of it on the right edge.
You've got players like Rocky Hampshire, Connor Jones, who's knocked the drop goals over before, and Benny Reynolds particularly.
Crazy that.
And Danny Addy, and they turned it down. They turned it down to go for the try in the right corner, and the Knights have escaped temporarily. It's still 4-4 here. That prize still dangling in front of both sides here, that glittering prize of the 1895 Cup.
In 7 sets, that's the first time either of the teams have got anywhere near drop goal territory.
Good work again from Galliano.
And Featherstone messed it up.
Around about a minute left. The Knights still in their own half. Ngannou deep to Harris. They move the ball on through Mataafa. Kieran Buchanan twists in the tackle, gets over halfway, wants to play the ball quickly. Here's Harris again, Harris to Martin. Martin batters up the middle.
Last tackle, it's on.
32 on the last. Will they drop goal? Liam Harris is going to have a go for it. They're on him, and that's not going to reach. It's going to go dead. And the Featherstone defenders, all credit to them. Jimmy Beckett, Rocky Hampshire, and Connor Jones were right up in Liam Harris's face, and he just couldn't get that kick away. So it's Featherstone from the 20, and the Knights have really got to restrict him here. Otherwise, the West Yorkshire side are they gonna get a pot at the drop goal themselves. 4-4 here at Wembley. So important that the Knights don't let Featherstone get within drop goal range. 45 from their own line. Hampshire drops the ball off into Brad Day. He stopped on halfway. A conceded penalty here would be the team's undoing. Reynolds moves the ball on. Akins shouts out wide. Connor Wynn going for the corner. Has to cut back inside. Has been dragged into touch. Great defence out there from the Knights. Trying to see who was involved. I think Joe Brown was one of them in there. Featherstone going for the left corner through Connor Wynn. From the slip pass, and he was belted into touch by Kieran Hudson and Liam Harris. The final whistle of the 80 minutes has sounded. We are in Golden Point extra time in this dramatic, tense 1895 Cup final. We go to Golden Point. Mick Ramsden, my nerves are shot to bits.
Yeah, well, all credit to both teams. They've slugged it out through this full 80 minutes. It's been a not the best game, but they've honestly gone at each other hell for leather, and it's going to Golden Point, and some really tired bodies out there. I was watching Jack Martin. He's done so much work. He was literally struggling to run in that last 5 minutes. So they just need to recover and get some water on board and just settle down. Let Mark Applegarth talk to them about what they're going to be doing next.
Both teams in a huddle. The coin toss, the call of the coin toss is going to be all important here, Mick, because one of these teams is going to get the first chance of possession, aren't they?
They are. It's so important.
We're waiting at the moment, the two teams in a huddle out there. We have had 2 penalty goals to the Knights, 2 penalty goals to Featherstone. It was 4-2 to the Knights at half-time. And it was Ben Reynolds on the hour. A late hit by Akumatai on Danny Addy. And Ben Reynolds tied us up at 4 apiece. We've had chances. Holyfield went close in the left corner for the Knights. The defence, last gasp defence, stopped him. And then we saw both Clay Webb and Connor Wynne stopped on the left side of the Featherstone attack when the Knights managed to reconvene. Here's that coin toss between Danny Addy and Liam Harris. It looks to me as though Liam Rush is asking Liam Harris what he wants to do. This conversation's as tense as the game, Mick Ramsden. There's a real old discussion going on between the referee and the two skippers. The touch judges and in-goal judges are stood around listening. Paul Cook's sort of earwigging as best he can as he walks past in his suit and tie, the Featherstone coach. The Knights are going to defend away to our right. And it is Featherstone who are going to have the kick-off. And the Knights are going to get first use of this ball, Mick Ramsden.
Just got to find some energy now. They've got to get over halfway. They've got to aim to get to halfway and over.
They need a solid set of 6, don't they? Absolutely need a solid set of 6 to put them on the front foot.
No
and
errors.
Deny Featherstone the chance of striking back with the drop goal.
Somehow got to get that kick as deep as they can.
4 apiece. We go into Golden Point extra time. Referee Liam Rush just making a point to the touchline as Rocky Hampshire in the 28 shirt for Featherstone has that ball tucked under his arm. He has the kicking tee in his other hand. He's about to get us underway. And we're into Golden Point extra time. Ball drops towards Joe Brown. Jack Martin with the carry. Jack Martin stopped 14 from his own line. Paul McShane, Kieran Hudson. Hudson out to the 20. Plays the ball, McShane to Thompson, Geordie Thompson. Looking for a win at Wembley for the Knights. They're up to the 30. McShane to Jesse D. Jesse D held and then finds a little bit of push to get him towards the 40. Toamata Afa with the carry. Out to the right side, the attack. Feet slip from under him. It's on the last. Paul McShane's played the ball. Kick through from Liam Harris. Down the touchline towards Caleb Akins. Goes down into the left corner. Tight to the left corner. Knights chase brings him down.
Good enough that, Andy.
13, yeah. As good an outcome as the Knights could have expected without getting a shot at the drop goal. And now it's all about being squeaky clean. Making sure there's no penalty. And making sure they stay onside, but are effective in the tackle. Connor Jones again.
No.
Yeah, referee says it was off the shoulder as the Featherstone fans appeal for the penalty. Caleb Akins brought down on the last for Featherstone. No chance of a drop goal here. They'll steeple one. Rocky Hampshire. Hanging kick, Toamata Afa. 12 from his own line. Thinks about the pass. I think possibly some advice from Joe Brown there that said put it up your jumper. Gets to the 20, being messed about in the tackle by Vuniyayawa. And then the Knights. Scott Galliano eventually manages to play the ball. Here's Joe Brown for the Knights. So tired, these players. Just looking for a spark that might just bring the trophy their way. Geordie Thompson tried to slip past Connor Jones. On halfway, Paul McShane goes left to Hingano. Hingano to Holyfield. Holyfield, half a break on the last. Have the Knights got a chance from here? Liam Harris has gone deep. He's going to go for it. Liam Harris, not enough elevation. It bounces and it bounces dead. Featherstone will get the ball on the 20. The Knights, big defending job to come, Mick Ramsden.
Yes, same again. They've got to restrict him. They've got to just think about, don't let them pass into the half. That's the goal.
Liam Harris's attempted drop goal. Just 3 minutes in to extra time. Featherstone at the moment in their own half. Big appeal from Featherstone for a high tackle, not upheld by the officials. Featherstone still in their own half, Danny Addy. I said it before, Mick, these two teams are out on their feet. They're absolutely out on their feet.
Yeah, they're just playing on adrenaline, on courage.
Yep, Addy to Hampshire. Has Hampshire got a break in him?
He's
brought down on
Hampshire.
halfway. Rocky Hampshire, couple of tackles still in the bag for Featherstone. Can they find something that'll get them in field position here? Oh, massive tackle. Massive tackle. Featherstone still in possession. Looking for anything that might be a gap, holding on to the ball, keeping the ball alive. Addy takes the tackle. On the last, Featherstone, can they go for the big drop goal from here? They're going to go to Rocky Hampshire. He's going to try it. He doesn't get any elevation as well. This ball's going to skip dead, I think. It's not. It stays in play, and Taumataf has to get back to the 20. Keeps going. Oh, throws the pass to Scott Galliano.
Oh.
Dear me.
Good pass.
He's trying to finish me off here, is Taumataf.
It was a good pass.
Kieran Buchanan out to the 30. This game of chess continues. It just needs field position and one good connection from one of the drop goal men. That's Ingano looking for a gap, gets the ball into Galliano. Galliano finds a little bit of a gap. Galliano still going. Great work by Scott Galliano. Gets the Knights inside the 30. Short ball, Jesse D tries to accelerate on the last. Chance for the Knights, 4 apiece. They look for Harris, can he get the drop goal away? He's hit this one well! It's there! Liam Harris has got the drop goal! The Knights have won! The Knights have won at Wembley! History is made! A York Rugby League team have won at Wembley after over 100 years! And it's the skipper, Liam Harris. Mark Applegarth's out there in the great pile of players. The Knights have done it. They've won this final by 5 points to 4. We have had the best part of 96 minutes without a try. We've had a chess game of a final. It's been defensively dominated, but the Knights have done it. And they've done it for all those great players that have played in the Yorkshire over the years. Vic York, Baz Watts, Willie Hargreaves, Graham Steadman, Jeff Price. They've done it for those guys. Graham Steadman, who came so close to playing at Wembley. But the Knights have finally done it. They've won the 1895 Cup.